Last night here in Tucson, the top 24 finalists bowled for 5 positions in today's nationally televised championship round, each hoping for a chance to become the 30th champion here at the Tucson Open, and perhaps even more, for 11 of these champions have gone on to be elected into the PBA's Hall of Fame. Two-time Bowler of the Year Mike Albee made a valiant run at the show in the position round match, but Jess Stayrook delivered this strike in the 10th frame to hold them off and join the finalists on today's telecast. In the middle of the night, right here at Golden Pin Lanes, our ESPN crew converged and began preparing for this afternoon's championship round. They worked through the night with the hope that you'll enjoy the 30th Tucson Open right here on ESPN. ESPN and the Professional Bowlers Association present the $125,000 Tucson Open. Welcome to beautiful Golden Pin Lanes here in Tucson, Arizona for this afternoon's $125,000 Tucson Open Championship. Hi, everybody. I'm Denny Schreiner, and welcome to the second oldest PBA Tour site. That's right. They started bowling here in Tucson back in 1962. And that very first tournament was captured by none other than Mr. Bowling, Don Carter. In 1982, my partner, Mike Durbin, ended up defeating Nelson Burton Jr. Let's talk about our top seed, John Mazza. Mike, if he wins today, he becomes the only player this year on the tour to have 4 victories.
Danny, I think John is really the all-American success story. He struggled 7 years out here as really a journeyman pro. Suddenly in 1991, though, John Mazza has found himself. He has won 3 times already. This is his 7th appearance in the championship round. No matter what happens this afternoon, he's going over the $100,000 mark. He could be the first player to win 4 titles, and he's already in contention for PBA Player of the Year. In 1991, John Mazza is a different bowler.
Michael, all the way back in 1983, Norm Duke became the youngest PBA champion ever when he captured a Cleveland tournament at the tender age of 18. Now, 8 years later, he's having his best year. He seems to have blossomed.
Well, Norm Duke is probably maybe the most versatile player on the PBA Tour today. He's learned to play all different angles on the lane, and he's learned to play it throwing the ball straight and hard, throwing the ball slow and hooking it. He can do just about anything. He's an excellent spare shooter. He has only won 1 time this year, but this is his 7th appearance in the championship round. He's going to win more titles, a couple more, and he'll be in contention for PBA Player of the Year also.
2 years ago, when Dave Ferraro captured the Firestone Tournament of Champions, it was probably the highlight of his bowling career. Since that time, though, Mike, he has bowled very solid, gotten to the championship round on a number of occasions, but he is 1-11 during that stretch.
Well, you know, that 1-11 started even before the 1990 Firestone Tournament of Champions. That's his only 1 victory. That was the shining moment of his career. But Dave Ferraro has the reputation as a solid person and a solid player, and one that you could trust to throw a strike for your life if you're going to trust anybody. So he has that good reputation. He just has not been getting the breaks. We'll see if he gets them tonight.
Perseverance pays off in the end. That's what Walter Ray Williams Jr. is hoping for, because let's talk about some streaks. His last title came in Edmond on ESPN back in 1987. Since that time, he has bowled for 12 titles. He's 0 for 12.
What's amazing about all that is that his attitude during that stretch, to me, has remained remarkably upbeat. He has not gotten bitter or down on his luck or down on himself. He has stayed rather positive and is sure that he is going to win again. You know, he is a national horseshoe champion a number of times, and I think that experience helps him in bowling also. He's going to win again. And an interesting stat, that last tournament that he won in Edmond in 1987, there were 4 left-handers on the telecast that afternoon. Today we have 2. Maybe that's a good omen for Walter Ray Williams Jr.
All right, you lead me into our number 5 seed, Jess Stayrook, who always seems to bowl well when the shot is inside on the left side.
Well, Jess throws that great big hook ball, Denny, and he likes to get in where he can throw the ball to the left and know that it's going to come back. Earlier this year, he won our flagship Open in Erie, Pennsylvania, but he won that from the top spot. This afternoon, he has to beat 4 quality opponents. He has to beat a former PBA Player of the Year. He has to beat a Firestone Tournament of Champions winner, and he has to beat 2 of the rising young stars on the PBA Tour. So it's a rough task for Jess Stayrook this afternoon, man.
The winner this afternoon, who knows? Maybe he'll end up in the PBA Hall of Fame someday, like the 11 others that we've already mentioned. Of course, we'll be showing you those as we go to some of our commercial breaks. Sit back, enjoy the Tucson Open. It comes up next on ESPN. The championship round finals of the $125,000 Tucson Open are being brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers, who reminds you friends know when to say when. And by Pizza Hut, home of the incredible picnic pear steel. Pizza Hut, making it great. When we come back to Golden Pin Lanes, Jess Stayrook and Walter Ray Williams Jr. will start the opening match of the $125,000 Tucson Open.
Good times with friends, hey, they're special. Sometimes you wish they would never end. The care you show is just as special. Friends know when to say when.
The family of Budweiser beers is proud of all the friendships they've helped make. So when they remind you to know when to say when, it's all in the name of friendship.
Friends know when to say when.
You call Pizza Hut?
Yep.
Good thing they deliver.
Yep.
Though if Pizza Hut didn't deliver, I guess we could call another place.
What other place?
Why are people changing to Pizza Hut delivery? Because now they can get America's favorite pan pizza, loaded with toppings and 2 layers of cheese, delivered right to their door.
Time for a game? No thanks.
Maybe some people just don't like Domino's anymore. Guess not.
Pizza Hut delivery, making it great.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're here at ringside for the fight card of the century. Sports Illustrated proudly presents history's greatest knockout video with commentary from Mike Tyson. And the video is free with your paid subscription to Sports Illustrated. Call now and get ringside seats to this illustrious event. You'll witness over 40 of the most memorable, most talked about fights in boxing history. And you'll be knocked out when you hear that the video is free. Yes, it's free when you subscribe to Sports Illustrated, the magazine that gives you hard-hitting stories and photos week after week. And you'll get the football preview issues and the 92 swimsuit issue. Call now and save over 55% off the cover price. You'll get 20 free issues for 3 easy monthly installments of $9.99 each. For faster delivery, use your credit card. So call now. Witness Foreman versus Roman, Lewis versus Khan, Liston versus Clay, and see Mike Tyson become the youngest heavyweight champion ever. Call to order or renew today. Use your credit card. Get knockout savings on Sports Illustrated and get history's greatest knockout video free.
And welcome back to Golden Pin Lanes in Tucson, Arizona. Just about ready to start the championship round finals of this year's Tucson Open Championship. And I know that you have fond memories of the Tucson area, Mike. You always enjoyed bowling here.
Seems like I always bowled well here. I finished first in '82, but I had a couple other seconds and a third. Always loved being around the pool here and enjoyed the area and the people.
Walter Ray Williams Jr. opens up the championship round and basically shooting with a spare ball.
Well, the lanes are hooking more, especially on the right. And this ball goes straighter, and we saw how much it finished there to leave the 4-pin. So Walter Ray, who's very, very versatile himself, can throw it straight and hook it. As he throws it this spare, he kills the shot completely and actually changes the roll, where the roll moves from outside the thumb to slightly inside the thumb, almost a perfect full roller, but it'll nick the thumb hole on occasion.
Which would help it straighten out even more.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be rolling hard to knock down 1 pin. Just has to hit it like that, even on a bounce.
Bumps away, and Walter Ray opens with a spare in the first. Our 5 television finalists averaged just a little better than 217 on this particular pair of lanes throughout the week, and individually, Jess Stayrook averaged 225.
But we talked about him playing inside during the week, and it looks like on the first game anyway that he's going to play outside.
Gets a handful on the opening shot. Ball comes up just a little bit light. In practice, every one of those shots just came screaming back, so the oil's beginning to carry down.
And that's what happens. The ball, again, acts as a transport. It carries that oil from the front of the lane to the back of the lane. That oil begins to build up, and the lane actually gets tighter as we go along.
So should you, if you're a player in the championship round, you get a very good reaction in the first 5 or 10 minutes of practice, should you just quit practicing your strike shots?
It depends on the individual. I know a number of players have done that in the past. Earl Anthony used to do that. Ooh. He practiced the spares, though, Den. Jess Stayrook holds that ball down. He's a power player. See that first step with the right foot. Now the ball starts even late in motion. It's almost a 3-step approach. Real short next to the last step. See the right arm out for balance? Not a lot of knee bend there, Dan. When you see short backswings like that, though, usually that means that the player is accurate.
John Mazza was kidding with Jess Stayrook during the practice session. He calls him meat hook because of the way he's so strong, throws that ball, gets all the roll. He can turn a little bit.
Yes, he can.
Turns this one just right, and he strikes on the left-hand lane. His opening strike here in the championship round.
When Walter Ray first came on the tour, he used to hook the ball as much as Jess Stayrook on the other side. But he's opted for a more straighter approach the last number of years and has had great success with it.
You heard Walter Ray say carry. Now, this is the problem you get into when you use the type of ball he's using right now. You're not going to have nearly as much pin action, so you're going to be able to hit the pocket, but you might not necessarily be able to strike.
Well, what you're doing is he's picking a lower surface friction bowling ball. He doesn't want the ball to bite as much because the lane is hooking so much that it's going to not provide enough friction to bring the ball in there. But you're going to get a couple of 10 pins here and there. Of course, you leave those with any bowling balls.
Mm-hmm. Old Deadeye, dead on the 10-pin on lane 16.
As it rumbled down there.
Well, this is a bit of a rematch, Michael, because these two faced each other earlier this year in the title match over in Erie, Pennsylvania, and Jess won that match 256 to 207.
Another one of those many defeats that Walter Ray has had since 1987.
What an incredible record. I mean, he was one of the, well, he was 1986 Player of the Year and came back in 87, had a solid year, and since that time he's bowled for 12 titles and has yet to win one. I mean, when was that streak going to end?
You keep thinking that a player of his caliber, it has to end any time now. But amazing, you know, it's not like he's been bowling bad every time. His opponent's been shooting big games at him. A tremendous lift that he has there, and accuracy out to the first board, and solid in the 1-3 pocket.
Came up light the last time, not this time. Beautiful adjustment, and Stayrook now doubles and leads by 11.
It looked like all he did was swing it more. Send it further to the left to keep it on the lane. Takes an 11-pin lead. A lot of the young players, this is their types of adjustment. They don't necessarily move. They throw it wider. They move their eyes. Instead of looking at the third or fourth board, they'll look at the second board.
Well, that ball's hooking about, what, 15, 16 boards in the last 10, 12 feet?
Correct. Again, the pocket's on board 17. It's getting out to right around the second board and coming back.
But it's at the second board at 50 feet.
Whew. Just like I always used to throw it.
Yeah, if you were shooting the 10-pin, maybe, or the 7-pin. A three-bagger for Stayrook, who has the hot hand early on. He leads by 21 here in the opening match. And we talked about some of the great Hall of Famers that have already won here in Tucson. There's Mr. Bowling in 1962. Good friend of yours, Glenn Allison, came back and won in 64. And the Tiger in 65. That was a memorable Tucson Open. And who can forget the great one, John?
The new 1992 Mercury Grand Marquis. More room than Oldsmobile 98 or Buick Park Avenue. More power than Olds and Buick from a new, more powerful V8 engine. And more value. Grand Marquis is priced $1,700 less than Olds 98. $2,100 less than Park Avenue. New Grand Marquis. Proof that more of a good thing is a very good thing.
For a look at state capitol activities, watch Senate Digest with Senator Gib Armstrong. Senator Armstrong will tackle the tough issues that impact on the residents of the 13th Senatorial District. He will talk with people from state and local government, the administration, and residents of the Lancaster County area. To find out how state government is working for you, join Senator Gib Armstrong for Senate Digest.
Walter Ray has a strike in the third, but is trailing by 21.
Well, a couple strikes and he's right back in the match. This is what match game play is all about. You have to respond to what your opponent does, and can't let him get too far ahead.
Ball rumbles around. He left the 10-pin the last trip, and this time he shakes him up for the strike and the double.
Interesting how those light hits sometimes will carry better than the pocket hits. Not that it's not in the pocket doing that. 5-step player. Holds the ball waist high. Now pushes it out. Basically right in time. The head goes a little bit forward. Backswing a little higher than shoulder height. Nice long slide. And that unorthodox finish.
Powerful, though, and on line. What an accurate player. Revs this one up and a little bit too much. Perhaps he got a little too juiced up and left the 3.610.
Well, what he got there is what we call the overreaction. He got that to the first board, and that first board banked back too hard.
Walter Ray shakes the head, realizes that the one board is not where he wants to be.
At least not that early on the lane. Three 6-10 cross lane. He'll rumble this one too.
Close. And there's a look at Debbie Newkirk, who is Walter's sister. She lives here in the Tucson area.
You see the family resemblance there.
Mm-hmm.
As we see this ball, if it hadn't hit the thumb hole, he never would have made the spare because he didn't get very much of that 3-6.
Stayrook works on the 3-bagger and a 14-pin advantage.
Boy, what a nice reaction he has. Just sends it out left of that first arrow, and as long as he trusts it and gets it off his hand clean, it comes back.
What a reaction at 50 feet.
Power, a lot of power. That ball covering that many boards in the last 10 feet of the lane.
Well, he has to be a very strong player because he's using virtually no momentum leg-wise to get to the line and hit the ball with leverage.
Or swing-wise.
Yeah.
I mean, because he has such a short backswing. There we see the scoreboard, 24 pins. Trying to get his 5th in a row to bump it up to 34.
Well, that's inside the target.
Yep.
And
what do we have?
The price.
The 2-4-6-10. You know, it used to be when you hit there, Dan, that you left the 2-4-7 or the 2-4. Now when you hit there, you get company with it. So the way he wants to try and convert this is move to the right, get the ball into the oil, hit that 2-pin on the left, and slide it into the 6-10. And we can see the ball has been getting out to the first board. He's 4 or 5 boards right of where he wanted to be at that point. And there's the result. This could turn the match around. And 7 out. So a disastrous frame for Jess Stayrook. Suddenly, he's only 4 pins ahead. How quickly it turns around.
Walter Ray with a strike the last time on lane 16. With a double here, would retake the lead or take the lead for the first time in the match. A little more side roll. Ball rumbles up and he strikes. Very nice shot for Walter Ray.
Now what's going through his mind is, what is lane 15 going to do? I threw it wide last time and it bit so early, I can't quite get it that wide again. Walter, though, it seems like his ace in the hole always when he tries to make adjustments is with speed. And he goes more speed and more speed.
Well, that was harder. And the result was right there. Nice adjustment. Walter Ray vaults into the lead here in match number 1. And let's once again take a look back at some of the great PBA Hall of Famers that have won here. The Lobster in 1970, Larry Lott. And the great Jim Godman back in 1971. And we'll send you off with Paul Caldwell, who came back and bowled in this year's Tucson Open.
Tomorrow morning, experience a new high. Introducing Mountain Fresh Dial with a scent so big, so bold, so bracing. It's right up there with your peak experiences. New Mountain Fresh Dial.
First, toothpaste came in tubes, then in unsqueezable pumps. Now there's Neat Squeeze from Crest. Squeezes easily like a tube with the control of a pump and a pullback feature that makes brushing a lot less messy and a lot more fun. The new Neat Squeeze from Crest.
There's no dashboard light to warn you. No dipstick to check. Yet when warned, they could cause your car to lose control and braking. Don't find out your shocks and struts are worn by accident. Get your shocks and struts inspected at your Monroe retailer soon. Monroe, your safety could depend on it.
If it happens in baseball, you'll see it on ESPN. There he goes. He leaves. He makes the catch. See Tuesday night doubleheaders, Wednesday night excitement, Friday night twin bills, and exclusive Sunday night action. Ruben Sierra leads the Texas Rangers stampede through the AL West. Joe Carter pilots the high-flying first-place Blue Jays. The Rangers beat the Blue Jays live at 8 Eastern on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.
What a turnaround. Stayrook led by 24 after 5 frames. Now he trails by 6 in the 7th.
Again, that's what match game play is all about. One mistake like that. These guys are like sharks in blood in the water, and they see those opens.
Oh, boy. An explosive shot, and I kept my eye on the ball at about 50 feet, and that was at about the 3 board, Mike, so there appears to be a little area out there.
But again, his mistake has got to be left.
Sure.
He's got to trust it to the left. He can't make mistakes to the right like he did.
Sensational game for Stayrook, with the exception of that errant shot in the 6th frame.
3 frames left, 6 spins the difference. It's the bowler that can perform in the last frames that's going to win this match. Wider.
Boy, if he gets the ball to that point, Michael, the reaction is sensational.
And it'd be interesting to see what knocked the 7th pin over on that shot. Is it just kind of fell to the left from the breeze of the ball or something?
It was gang tackle.
Is that what it was?
Sure. A re-rack for Walter Ray on the right-hand lane. Working on a double, I should say.
Trying to take the lead back. He's high. And again, he got that bounce off the first board. And what happens there is you just get the ball to the first board too soon on the lane. Needs to get it there about a foot later. Thing to watch, Walter, watch his left hand. Here. See that left hand come way behind his head almost as he lets it go.
The other thing, and I know you've pointed this out in the past, Mike, which is really unusual, but I kind of like it to a certain degree, is the fact that Walter Ray bounces that ball back on his backswing, then drops it back into the slot when he starts the forward swing.
It's away from his body, and then, as you say, brings it back in, and it's right in line from the top of the swing all the way on down. It's just, you know, as you get older, and he's over 30 now, it gets harder to do that on a consistent basis.
Needs it in the foundation frame, and oh, he did not like it when it left his hand, and so Walter Ray is in a position now where he's going to have to hope that Stayrook struggles in the latter stages.
He's going to have to hope Stayrook stops striking. But again, he just can't get that ball to the first board too soon. This is exactly what happened again. It hits it there, and it goes left immediately, and he knew it. He knew it had no chance. Well, his face said it all.
Covers up to 6-10, trails by 8, and Jess Stayrook could put him away very quickly.
And Walter, you know, when he had the opportunity to take the lead back and perform well, we said the player that performed well in the last frames would win. Didn't perform very well in the 8th and 9th. Even room. Boy, he gives the room. You can almost write it up, can't you?
Pretty shot. As a matter of fact, he has yet to leave anything, Mike, when he does get the ball to the area that he wants it.
Yeah, the only time he's left something when he went right through the heart of the pins, and he had a bunch of them up there then.
Started the game with a 3-pin, then had the disaster in the 6th. Since that time, he's strung together 3 more strikes, though, and he appears to be ready to move on to match number 2.
Well, he still needs some kind of spare strike, man. 6'8" was there for a freckle, but they both fell.
So Stayrook will move on. And meanwhile, Walter Ray, since winning in '87, will now move to 13-22 overall in championship round play, and he'll just have to keep the chin up and come back another day.
And Jess has defeated one former PBA Player of the Year. Now he's got a former Firestone winner in his path.
Extremely talented, versatile crew on the telecast here this afternoon. Whoever wins this one will have earned it. Seems that this tournament, though, through the years has always brought out the best in the PBA players.
Did you see that little move, though, that he, experimentation there? He moved inside. Now, we talked to John Mazza during the practice balls. He said that the left-handers could play either in or out, that he had a shot either place. Jess showed us that by moving in close to the fourth arrow and striking on that second ball in the 10.
You mentioned that, Mike, and it brings up another interesting point. As I talked to John Mazza, he said if Jess plays out and wins 2 or 3 games, there's a good chance I'll end up playing in because I don't think the shot will be very good out there. It's almost like he's going to do the opposite of what Stayrook is doing if he gets the kind of reaction he wants. Another experimentation shot there that obviously worked, but it was on the wrong side.
So right side with his strikes. He had, what, 10 strikes in that game for 250 even.
So for Walter Ray, a 5th place finish here in Tucson. And he really made a beautiful run last night to solidify his position in the championship round, but he'll just have to shake this one off and hope that the streak starts to flip around and go in the other direction. Did you ever have a stage, Mike, where you went a long time without winning in the championship round?
From 1972 to 1979, I never won a game.
That's a long time. 7 years, the 7-year itch, right?
Yep.
7-year ache for Durbin. 250 for Stayrook. Whew. Boy, that's got to get your attention if you're Dave Ferraro.
Well, Ferraro's seen 250s before. It doesn't scare him.
You know, he is such a unaffected player. We bring that up. It's like he's very unassuming. It's like, all right, he shot 250, but he's got to bowl me next.
Well, with Dave, it's just a matter that he is very confident in who he is and what his abilities are, and he's not afraid of anyone.
All right, Stayrook moves on and wins 250 to 211. And when we come back, Mike Durbin and a familiar face, Dave Ozio, will work on your finishing touches at the foul line.
This minivan goes shopping, gets the kids to school, carries camping gear. When I need brakes, I can't wait for my dealer to fix them.
Then come to Midas.
Hey, this is a minivan.
Hey, this is Midas. Cars, trucks, vans, and minivans. We're the brake experts. We do the job right with a written estimate up front, Midas trained experts, and a great guarantee.
What about price?
You get a good price and a lot of value. But brakes done right, nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
This summer, you can win one of 50,000 prizes worth over $1 million by finding one man.
I'm back, and this time I brought friends.
Haven't I seen you somewhere before?
You know, you look very familiar.
Nice suits, yeah.
Find a Budman certificate inside packages of Budweiser, Bud Light, and Bud Dry Draft to win.
Nothing beats a Bud Man!
Average Builders is brought to you by Pizza Hut, home of the incredible Picnic Pairs deal. Pizza Hut, making it great.
Have you ever seen some of our ESPN stars glide to the foul line and finish in a nice, on-balance, solid finish position at the foul line and say, boy, I wish I could do that? Well, for tonight's Average Builder, that's what we're going to look at, the finish position and how I can help you improve yours. The first thing I'd like to point out to you is if you're a right-handed bowler and you're in your next to last step right here, I believe that this is the end of timing and the rest of the approach is finish. And what I want to think of and what I want you to think of at this point right here is to bend your right knee. When I bend my right knee, several things will happen. First of all, it'll get me closer to the floor. Next, it'll put my arm in a position where my thumb wants to come out of the ball cleanly and I can lift it effectively. And last is it'll force my left foot into a nice long slide that hopefully will go right underneath my chin for solid balance here. Next, I want to keep my head steady and basically up. I don't want it going forward like this so my eyes can be right on my target. Next, I want to point my left arm toward the opposite wall of the bowling center so that my shoulders will be square to my intended target line. And the last thing is I want my follow-through to go right toward my target or maybe just a little right of it. The idea here is to create a 90-degree angle between my shoulders and my arm. Well, those are the points that I have to help improve your finish position. This week we have a treat. We have kind of a second opinion. And the bowler to give that second opinion is none other than the leading money winner this year. He's won 3 tournaments already, including the Firestone Tournament of Champions. He's David Ozio. David, welcome to the Average Builders. You have kind of a classic approach on the PBA Tour and one of the best finish positions on the tour. How have you achieved that?
Well, I'm sure that most bowlers have watched the top PBA professionals bowl from week to week, and one thing that they have noticed is that all the bowlers are extremely loose. Their arms seem to be rubberized all the way through the point of impact. To better show how that works is that through their push away, we'll use the regular plumb bob here, through the push away, they push the ball away, and then the arm seems to swing very free like this all the way to the point of impact. This gives you a very loose feel, a very balanced feel all the way through the foul line. So if you've noticed me bowl, you notice that everybody sees my arms swing very fluid like this. This means that from the top of the swing all the way through the bottom of the swing, I impart no muscle in my swing at all. This gives 2 benefits. This allows me to duplicate my shots a lot better as far as getting the ball to the target consistently, and it helps me to duplicate my speed shot after shot. If you've noticed, most of the players, whenever they slide, their knee progresses over their toe. You'll notice that every one of them have a very deep knee bend, and their arms all seem to dangle at one point or another. Pete Weber, Brian Voss, a lot of the top players have this in common. Also, too, the shoulders play a big part in this shot. Most of the people who hook the ball an extreme amount have to have a slight opening of their shoulders in order to circle the ball to the pocket. This is very, very important. The down and in players must keep their shoulders square in order to attain that direct angle to the pocket. So if you watch these players on a week-in, week-out basis, you'll notice that they all have one thing in common, and I think it's freedom. This is very important, and if you work on this, I guarantee it'll build your average.
Well, let's show them that freedom, David. There you have it. 2 different ideas on how to have a solid finish position. One by the PBA leading money winner, and the other by a retired senior player. We'll see you again next Thursday night from St. Charles, Missouri, where we'll have another Average Builder. And if you have trouble in the meantime, you look up your PBA Pro.
And the score of game number 1, 250 to 211. Stayrook wins. And that sets up game number 2. He shot 300 in the 5th round. That's Dave Ferraro. He'll match up with Jess Stayrook when we return to Tucson.
You call Pizza Hut?
Yep.
Good thing they deliver.
Yep.
Though if Pizza Hut didn't deliver, I guess we could call another place.
What other place?
Why are people changing to Pizza Hut delivery? Because now they can get America's favorite pan pizza, loaded with toppings and 2 layers of cheese, delivered right to their door.
Time for a game?
No thanks.
Maybe some people just don't like Domino's anymore. Guess not. Pizza Hut delivery, making it great.
From its arrival in the Mayflower and its place on the first Thanksgiving table, it's played a role throughout our nation's history. The Continental Congress made it a part of every American soldier's daily ration. Our first president had his own private recipe. Today, it's served on the tables of nearly 2/3 of our country's families and enjoyed each year by 80 million responsible Americans. It's beer, a good part of the good life. A message from Budweiser.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball will feature the Texas Rangers and the Eastern Division leading Toronto Blue Jays at 8 o'clock. On Sunday night. Of course, that's where they played the All-Star game this past week.
Yeah, tremendous spectacle with some home runs.
The American League wins again.
That's 4 in a row for
I'm an American League fan. We had a serious drought in the 70s and the 80s there, but we're coming back in the 90s.
I see. Well, Cal Ripken with that 3-run homer. However, if they could have divided up Andre Dawson's long home run into 2 or 3.
Mega shot there, huh? Ferraro trying to win a game in the championship round, and he starts nicely with a solid X on lane 15.
And Dave Ferraro showing his versatility and his flexibility all week long. He played right at the first arrow. Didn't like the reaction out there today, the ball biting too much, as we saw Walter Ray's ball doing in the first match. He's opted for the more inside angle where there's some more oil.
Out to the 1 board, back to the 17 board, and another strike for Stayrook, who threw 10 strikes in game number 1.
He says this is an easy game. Just send it left and watch it come back and strike.
Powerful player who normally has taken advantage of winning when he has gotten in that position. Has 2 national titles to his credit. Right now, though, he does have a fabulous reaction, and that has to loosen you up a little mentally.
Well, he knows that he has a chance to win this tournament. I think he feels that the right-handers really don't have that good a ball reaction, and that, you know, if he can get through here a couple matches, that he'll be bowling Mazza.
It's interesting, too, because this tournament kind of turned around once match play started. The left-handers averaged 9 pins a game higher than the righties when they got to the final 24 games.
Yeah, there's his lovely wife looking on, not liking that reaction of the 3-7-9. Kathy says, Jess, I want you to throw hard and straight at this, and maybe something will bounce out there and hit that 7-pin.
You should have seen her last night when he needed the mark in the 10th against Albee when he finally got the strike. I thought she was going to fall on the floor. It's tough. Nothing bounces out, but Ferraro bounces up off the bench quickly because he sees an advantage as he calls for a re-rack on 16.
And Jess, for the first time, threw that ball left, and it didn't come back. So it could be that that oil is carrying down. Remember what Mazza said, that if Jess was playing outside, he didn't think he would because he didn't think the shot would be that good.
That'll be interesting to see where our top seed, John Mazza, decides to play the championship round pair. Keep in mind, Norm Duke is qualified number 2. Wow, did he have a night last night. Ferraro back in, a little in-out shot. Bucket was there momentarily, and he probably wishes he'd have left it.
2-5-8's no easy spare at any time.
Now, how does he adjust to shoot this spare?
Well, it'd be interesting. You know, some players opt to shoot it from the left. I would think that Dave is going to shoot it off of his strike line because you know what the ball is going to do there. So he'd be aiming right around the 3rd arrow. Perfect conversion. 5-step player holds the ball waist high, short first step, and gets the ball into a swing right away. Quick steps, and the interesting thing, here's his shoulder high backswing, very little slide, and goes into it heel first. The foot turning there really is inconsequential because it's done after he's let the ball go.
Average 224.6 on the championship round pair this week. And comes back with another solid strike on 15.
But didn't really take advantage of the opportunity they had with Jess opening there in the 7th frame.
Well, we know he has the potential to throw a lot of strikes. So an open may not bother him that much, especially early on in a match.
The only way it's going to bother him is if that was a mistake on his part or whether there's a different reaction on the lane.
Oh, that was the half board, and it came back and nearly tickled out the 10.
And I think that's the first time he's hit the 1-2 and not struck. So maybe from the first frame in the first game, boy, out to the absolute edge. But you see how much further down the lane he gets to that point than Walter Ray was playing on the other side of the lane.
Carey has been terrific. I mean, he's got to be throwing strikes, what, 90, 95% of the time when he hits the pocket. No problem with the 10. And he continues to trail by a dozen pins here in match number 2.
Well, we'll see what kind of adjustment he makes on lane 15 after that 3-7-9.
Well, you see the scoreboard here with Stayrook trailing by 12. Well, one of the key members of our crew, Betsy Lawrence, is back home in Chicago recovering from, a slight domestic accident. We all here want to wish her the best. Take it easy, Bets, relax, and we want you out here the rest of the summer. We're not the same without her. Jess kind of creeps up on the foul line, unleashes a powerful shot, and just absolutely pays the price with the pocket 7-10.
And that head pin went to the sideboard, missed the 10 pin on the right, then came back and missed the 7 pin on the left. So it was 0 for 2. hard and straight at the 7-pin and hope for something to bounce out.
Oh, he made it! The third time!
Well, Mazza made it earlier this year. Roth was the first to do it, and Kathy says, you bet, a 7-10 conversion right here on ESPN. Oh, my. The only two-time winner here in Tucson, Barry Asher, would have approved of that 7-10 conversion. Coco Johnson on the senior show just the other night. And the 77 champion, George Pappas. We'll be back with more excitement after this.
Feeling lost when it comes to finding quality automotive service? Leb's Elders in Elizabethtown would like to help you find a way. Their trained technicians get the job done right, from total vehicle alignment, lube and oil change, to wheel balance, rotation, and more. From downtown Elizabethtown, take Route 230 to Cloverleaf Road, left on Mertz Drive. Off Route 283, Reams exit to Mertz Drive. Follow Mertz Drive past Messick Farm Equipment. You found the way to quality automotive service at Leb's Elders Field and Fleet Center in Elizabethtown.
It's the bottom of the ninth. Bases are loaded. And here's your chance to bring the Phillies home. Order Prism now and get 2 free Phillies tickets plus installation for as low as $4.95. Prism, exclusive coverage of the Phillies, Flyers, and Sixers. Plus smash hit movies like Presumed Innocent, Flatliners, and Die Hard 2. Order Prism now. Call 1-800-CABLE-91 to get 2 free Phillies tickets and installation for as low as $4.95. But hurry, this offer won't go into extra innings.
Put the Abby in the DV or Super Operator Camera June is all on Fon Red.
For the final word in all the sports news, turn to the Emmy Award-winning ESPN Sports Center, America's sports authority.
And for only the 3rd time in the history of PBA on television, you're going to see something here, a conversion of the 7-10. The ball hits the 7-pin. It bounced up off the sideboard, around across the lane, and knocked that 10-pin over like he planned it that way.
Well, now, they're still oohing and eyeing, but if you're Dave Ferraro, you got to put the game face on, and mentally you have to be thinking, oh, come on, this can't happen to me.
He says, that's why I'm 1-11 over the last 12 games.
So Ferraro will try and fight through all the excitement, and he leaves the 10-pin, thankfully, without the 7. We should make note at this point, had Stayrook missed there, he would have been down by 25. Instead, it's now a 14-pin match.
Well, you never know. We'll see at the end of the game whether those 11 pins make a big difference.
What an interesting show, though. John Mazza, the last to make it, he's on the telecast in the top seed position. Those lefties are consorting once again, trying to teach each other how to make the 7-10.
Well, Dan, I'll tell you what, I bowled for, 40 years, and I made it once.
Did you really?
Once.
Where was it?
It was in Portsmouth, Virginia, in a Pro-Am.
When it really meant a lot.
Yeah, right.
I'm sure your Pro-Am partners appreciated it.
Yes, they did.
How did you throw hard at the 10?
At the 7-pin.
At the 7?
At the 7-pin.
Wow. Well, fireworks happening early here in the Tucson Open. That kind of livened up this bunch here in Tucson.
Sure did.
Left lane's been a good one for Dave Ferraro, and it remains the same as Gloria looks on and applauds the effort.
And I think she's thinking of that 7-10.
You can see it written all over her face. Come on now, guys. How can you do this to me? Did you ever make the 4-6?
I made that a couple, 3 times.
No. Really?
Yeah.
How about the 5-pin?
I had trouble with that.
After the re-rack, after near disaster on the half-board, Stayrook strikes, and he's climbing back into this match.
Did you see Kathy's reaction when he made that spare, that 7-10? What a trusting shot here. Out to almost right at the first board down. And then just a right turn, whack. Those pins didn't have a chance.
The razor's edge. That's where you have to live sometimes out here on the PBA Tour when you're bowling in order to strike.
Well, the trouble is you make a board mistake to the left and it's trouble.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the 9-10 pin. Thought about it momentarily and then was dazzled. A double for Stayrook, and this is now a 4-pin match.
Ferraro looking at the score, and I think he asked for his second re-rack on lane 16. What's interesting here, besides everything else, is Dave had the choice of where to finish, and he wanted to finish on 16. He's yet to get a strike there. Ooh, a little slow 10-pin.
Just took it a while, but Ferraro now has a double as the two lovely ladies look on.
And watch this 10-pin here. 6 just goes over, nudges it, and before that messenger can get across to deliver the message, it had already fallen.
Trying to keep his string intact on the left-hand lane. A beautiful shot for Ferraro, who strings together 3 in a row. And we'll come back with more here in Tucson, but no stills from my partner, Mike Durbin. We have to go to the video to remember when he last won here in Tucson.
Oh, last strike ever.
Looked to me like you carried everything. And yes, the style, that's what I'm really appreciative of. The 84 Hall of Famer, Mike Durbin.
Do you know what open-end mutual funds are?
The Wall Street Journal Guide to Understanding Money and Markets tells you in clear, simple English.
Do you know how to spot trends in stocks?
And what stock options are?
And zero coupon bonds?
And the difference between Treasury bills and Treasury notes?
Everything you want to know about the sometimes baffling world of money and investing is in this remarkable 120-page book. And now it's yours free when you subscribe to the Wall Street Journal. Call now and you can have 13 weeks of the Wall Street Journal and this valuable 120-page Guide to Understanding Money and Markets. That's 13 weeks of the Journal for the news and ideas you need every business day. And this guide free, which tells you everything you want to know about money and markets, all for only $37, a 24% savings off the newsstand price. Call now, toll-free, 800-332-1800. That's 800-332-1800 for today's Wall Street Journal.
Jess Stayrook, who now trails by 24 and works on a double, steps up in the 7th. Regardless of whether he wins or loses, this will be a memorable afternoon for Jess because he became only the 3rd player in the history of the PBA on national television to convert the 7-10.
And what's interesting is how he was able to recompose himself, put that behind him, and come right back with a double.
Needs 2 more to close the gap.
He didn't know that was going to hold or not. He didn't get it as wide, but it held pocket. Oh, the same guy.
The thing that's interesting, though, is the fact that Ozio is here to help you with your arm swing. And, of course, he was the guy that basically put you off the national tour when he defeated you right on 15 and 16 back in 1985.
I should have reminded him of that, huh?
Plenty of strikes now in the stretch run of game number 2. Keep in mind, Stayrook shot .250 in the opening test to knock off Walter Ray Williams.
And he can still shoot .246 this game. I'll tell you, with that conversion, I think he's the crowd favorite now.
Boy, if we could get an opportunity to see that strike again, one of the things that Jess chatted with me about concerning synthetic lanes, and they put synthetic lanes here in Golden Pin 2 days after last year's tournament, is the fact that the pin action is so tremendous.
Watch that head pin, how fast it comes off and knocks that 6-pin out of there. Back to live, and Ferraro trying for 4.
Looked like he tried to move in on the right-hand lane, which has presented the problems as the baby splits, and Dave was not happy at all with that shot.
Has to make this to stay in the lead. Has to convert this. He's not switching balls, using the same ball. Perfect. Was that professional? I mean, he wasn't even concerned about it. It was like shooting a 5-pin.
I think the thing that I like about what Dave does, his approach is the same amount of time is taken for every shot, regardless of whether it's baby split, 5-pin, strike shot, or whatever.
I don't know whether he practiced this in the practice balls right over the fourth arrow, clipped it just on the right. There's the conversion.
Still a possible 238. He might need all of it. He needs a strike here as this one goes down the lane a little longer than the previous shot. He leaves the ring in 10.
And it came in when that happens, when that ball comes in behind the 1-3 a little bit, that 6 will go sailing right around the 10.
Which is exactly what happened. Now the best he could shoot with a spare would be 227.
He's in trouble.
Stayrook, who took advantage of converting a 7-10 split in the fourth, is down by just 1 with an opportunity to finish him off, just like he did with Walter Ray.
Right. Strike in the 9th puts him in the lead for the first time in the game. Light hit. 9 pins up now.
Without question, Jess Stayrook has it going.
Boy, he hits this one thin. The 1 pin barely hit the 3. It was almost a bucket corner strike. But he's in the position now that if he strikes now, the match is basically over.
I want to reiterate, though, and talk about that pin action. Do you see those pins flying on the deck?
Well, that is characteristic of synthetic lanes and synthetic pin decks. For the lockout. Oh, my goodness. The light pin giveth and the light pin taketh away.
Taketh away. A solid strike shot, and he ends up with 9.
But he needs to recompose himself, make the 8 pin that he left here, strike and finish with 225 to force Ferraro to get 2 and 9.
Jess is still kind of chuckling to himself, saying, now, I didn't deserve the strike on the right-hand lane, but that was the best shot I threw all week. Now, what about Ferraro? The right-hand lane has not been a good one.
Trusted it out to around the first board. Watch it go right through and chop that 5 right off the 8. To answer your question, Dave Ferraro has the reputation, and a well-earned reputation, as being a clutch bowler. Let's see if he can live up to it. He has not done that in recent years, the last 2 or 3 years, in these kinds of situations.
Stayrook with a beautiful performance. 224, and with the conversion of the 7-10, no matter what happens, I think Jess is going to appreciate this day for a long, long time. But now Ferraro with an opportunity to win the match.
I don't know what happened. Something bothered his concentration. I don't know if the clock is still ticking. With him, he gets off so quick it wouldn't matter, probably.
Give it a little room. He made the adjustment. First shot is in there, and he leaves a solid 4 and walks away disappointed, as does Gloria. Excellent shot, just didn't happen.
And that's what's happened to him the last 2 or 3 years, as Gloria shakes her head and says, how come again? And he's made the good shots when he needed to, but something stood.
Looked like he went with a little more speed, perhaps, on that shot to hold pocket, and it almost did, but...
Well, when you throw the ball basically straight like Dave does anyway, your tendency under pressure is to pick up the speed a little bit and play the tight line. I mean, get the ball in the 1-3 and take your chances. Well, there's Gloria watching. Kathy barely can look. Disappointment on one hand and relief on the other.
Awful tough when they have to sit next to each other. They're all pretty good friends out here on the tour, but it's a 224 to 214 victory for Jess Stayrook. Only the 3rd PBA player in history to convert the 7-10 and live to tell about it, at least in the championship round. We'll be back to chat about the Player of the Year race in a couple of minutes.
I watched what I ate, worked out on my Easy Glider, and lost 75 pounds.
This is actual footage of Keith's home video showing his dramatic weight loss. All across America, people have found that 20 minutes every other day works to firm all major muscle groups and helps to lose weight aerobically.
I'm using my arms, my shoulder, my back, my tummy, my thighs, my legs. I get it all.
Dual resistance allows you to adjust tension for both legs and upper body.
I have tried bikes, jogging, even racquetball, and Easy Glider is definitely the best.
And this handsome unit folds down quickly for easy storage.
Call toll-free like I did to shape up and slim down with Easy Glider.
Call toll-free 1-800-972-3400. We'll bill your credit card 3 easy payments of $19.95 each. You get a full 60-day home trial with a money-back guarantee. The total price, $59.85 plus $9 shipping and handling. Call 1-800-972-3400 now.
And we're back here at Golden Pin Lanes in Tucson, Arizona. And momentarily we'll be chatting with our top seed, John Mazza. But before we get to that stage, Mike Durbin is putting the finishing touches on getting hooked up here. We'll have an opportunity to talk about this year's Player of the Year race, Mike, and it is unfolding beautifully. There are a lot of horses in the race.
Well, as I get dressed here, there certainly are. You know, the number one contender has to be David Ozio. David's won 3 times already. He's our leading money winner right now. To me, it's important to win major championships, and he won the Firestone Tournament of Champions, the biggest of all. So I think that's, to me, is almost worth 2 of regular titles.
Now, John Mazza at this point in time is the top seed in this tournament. He has already won 3 times, perhaps even 4. So if he wins today, does he then go into the lead in terms of your vote?
Well, I don't know that he would go into the lead in terms of my vote, but it would certainly make me think and consider and try and make an intelligent decision on this. John has just come out of nowhere this year with 3 victories and going for number 4. What the turning players look at, Dan, is they'll look at average. They'll look at number of times in the championship round. This is John Mazza's 7th appearance already. They study those things. They'll look at where he is on the point list. They'll look at the number of times he's in the top 24. They'll look at the number of cashes, and they'll look at the consistency all the way through the year. It's bowler of the year. It's not hot for 3 months and then off for 3 months. So the turning players take all these things into consideration.
Earlier on this week, Del Ballard Jr. was in a position to make the telecast. He struggled a little bit, finished a little further down here in the finals, but Del certainly a hot runner in the race for the Player of the Year.
Another bowler that has 3 victories again this year already, and remember, he threw 1 away and gave 1 to Pete Weber by throwing it in the channel, or he would have 4. He showed his mettle by coming back 2 weeks later and winning again in Long Island after he gave it away in Baltimore. So Del Ballard's the type of bowler that throws such a powerful strike ball that he's apt to win 2 in a row the rest of the year. I mean, he could get hot and win 2 more or even 3 more. So, you know, he's right there.
Dave Ozio cashed here this week. He's a former Tucson Open champion. We talked about him just a little bit earlier on, but let's discuss his chances at this point in time to become the Player of the Year. He cashed this week, but obviously didn't make the top 24.
David opened up the year by winning our first 2 events. He was the first player in about 20 years to do that. I think Dick Weber was the last bowler to do that before David did. Then he capped off the Winter Tour by winning at the Firestone Tournament of Champions with the bomb scare there and everything. Hasn't done that so far in the spring and summer. I think David needs to win again in order to become the PBA Player of the Year.
All right, Mike, Pete Weber did not bowl in this event, has not bowled all summer long, facing the suspension. He will be back in the fall. What are his chances?
Well, Pete Weber's chances are tougher, I think. He's won 3 titles. He won the U.S. Open for the 2nd time. You know, another major tournament, and that's a plus in his corner. But I think it's really going to be hard for him because the touring players, anybody that sticks out for 6 months, I don't think the touring players will vote for him for Bowler of the Year.
All right, what about the 2-time Player of the Year, Amleto Monticelli, who has missed a number of tournaments thus far this year? He's only bowled in 17 events, but he still has already captured 2 titles.
Well, he's won twice already this year, and Amleto is another one of these players that can win 2 or 3 in a row, so you can't ever count Amleto out.
And our number 2 seed, who is warming up, he'll be in the next match, Norm Duke. The last month, he has been perhaps the best player on the PBA Tour.
Again, 7 championship round appearances this year. He has a chance to have his 2nd title of 1991 in this event. Norm has to win this one and then probably win a couple more to win it.
And when we come back, we'll talk to our top seed, John Mazza, here in the Tucson Open, as he will prepare to try and win his 4th tournament of the 91 campaign.
Check out
out McDonald's new wrap.
A wrap, please.
New chicken fajitas.
Fajitas at McDonald's? Wrap it! That's unexpected. Wrap it! Wrap it up!
New chicken fajitas. An unexpected taste at an unexpected price. Only 99 cents each.
Now this wrap I like.
More for your money. That's McDonald's today.
Queen takes pawn.
7-Up, the cool spot.
Oh, say, can you see the great sports in July on ESPN? You'll see America's favorite pastime 4 nights a week. Booming drives bursting in air at the British Open, U.S. Women's Open, and the U.S. Senior Open. American Olympic hopefuls taking their first steps toward Olympic glory at the U.S. Olympic Festival. Plus down-home NASCAR racing excitement in the land of the free and the home of great sports in July on ESPN.
And here's the hottest player in the PBA Tour. He's won 3 times already, the tournament leader here in Tucson, John Mazza. John, until just a few minutes ago, you were only the second player in PBA history to make the 710, and then Jess Stayrook did. What was your reaction to that?
I thought it was great. It's nice that Jess now can have all the attention. Everyone says he's a 710 man, and I'm just another guy out here. I like that. It's real neat.
Well, you made yours earlier this year. Did you win that game?
No, I didn't. He knows how to win. Obviously, I didn't know how to win the game. He did the right thing.
Okay. Let's get on to your record this year. You've been a PBA touring pro for the last 7 years, and to be really honest, you were kind of a journeyman pro. Then suddenly in 1991, 3 titles, you're going over 100,000, chance for PBA Player of the Year. The question, what turned it around? Why has this happened?
Well, I think it's a combination of 3 things, Mike. My fiancée, Leslie, at home, she adds a lot of balance to my life. My sports psychologist, Dr. Hugh Bray, based out of Detroit, has been a tremendous help to my mental game. And my physical coach, Fred Borden, who is Team USA coach, has been tremendous with my physical game. With all those, it's helped.
All right, well, let's take a look at that sports psychologist, Dr. Hugh Bright. When did you start going to him?
I went to Hugh Bray in 1988 with the help of Ron Kohler, my former sponsor, and we spent some time together. The first step we worked on was relaxation techniques. Obviously, everyone knows I'm really hyper. I jump around, and that helped out a lot. And then it was some mental blocks, you know, trying to get more responsible on the lanes for what I'm doing, take into account whatever happens is my responsibility, and then also pacing myself better and getting in control of what's going on out here.
Did he deal with your self-talk at all?
Well, I think as far as dealing with the inner self, it was more or less visualization. And when I play golf, in fact, some visualization techniques I use when I play golf helps my bowling.
As we watch you now as an objective observer, we see a different John Mazza, one that's full of confidence, one that steps up there and looks like he feels like he's going to strike. When you enter a tournament now, do you feel that John Mazza could win any tournament?
Well, I feel that I have the ability and the knowledge given to win any event. It's up to me to go out, play the lanes correctly, and get the job done.
Question that occurred to me is that when you were going through that 7-year period and struggling and cashing here and there, making a few finals now and then, I'm sure you must have fantasized what it would be like to be a PBA star, to have a chance to be PBA Player of the Year, to win multiple titles. Now you've achieved all that. Is it all you expected to be?
Well, first off, Mike, I haven't achieved everything yet. I got a long way to go, number one, and it's great to win. It's a tremendous feeling to be able to step out front with the best bowlers in the world and have the opportunity to win and to win. It's just tremendous.
Okay, you're 2-0 this year from the top seed. I know you must have a specific game plan. Can you share that with us?
Well, Mike, I think today what I'm going to do, I might try the outside line. I know I like to play the inside a little more than outside, but I think the ball reaction is going to be a little better from the outside line tonight. So given that, and the left lane I think is a little tighter. So if I play the lanes correctly, make the shots, everything should work out just good.
Would you rather play the right-hander or the left-hander?
I don't care. I have to fear myself. It's up to me. I have to go out and perform the best of my ability. I'm my own worst enemy or my own best friend.
Well, he's looking to be his own best friend tonight. And we're going to be back in just a few minutes, and we're going to see the 710 converter, Jess Stayrook, take on the most versatile player on the PBA Tour, Norm Duke. Don't go away.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're here at ringside for the fight card of the century. Over 40 of the greatest bouts ever. Now you can get ringside seats to this illustrious event. Sports Illustrated proudly presents history's greatest knockouts video with knockout commentary from Mike Tyson. And the video is free with your paid subscription to Sports Illustrated. Witness one of the greatest fights of all time, the Thriller in Manila. See one of the best knockdown drag-out fights in middleweight history. Watch Sugar Ray get his revenge in the unforgettable No Mas fight. View Rocky Marciano in his classic comeback against Jersey Joe Walcott. See Larry Holmes proudly and defiantly defend his heavyweight title. And you'll be knocked out when you hear that the video is free. Yes, history's greatest knockouts video is free when you subscribe to Sports Illustrated, the magazine that gives you jolting photos, hard-hitting stories, and the no-holds-barred truth week after week. And only Sports Illustrated gives you exclusives like the football preview issues and the 92 swimsuit issues. Call today and you can get it all at savings of over 55% off the cover price. You'll get 23 issues for 3 easy monthly installments of $9.99 each. For faster delivery, use your credit card. Call now and witness the fight card of the century. Watch Foreman at his best and Lewis in his prime.
The left to the jaw by Lewis, pushing right to the jaw, and Khan slowly goes to the canvas.
See the infamous Phantom Punch and this famous welterweight title fight. Call today and see host Mike Tyson become the youngest fighter to ever win the heavyweight crown. Call to order or renew today. Use your credit card. Get knockout savings on Sports Illustrated and get history's greatest knockouts video free.
I don't think there's a city that supported professional bowling any better than Tucson over the last 30 years. And PBA President Mark McDowell presented the proprietor here at Golden Pin Lanes, Don Allen, with a beautiful PBA plaque commemorating those 30 years of service. And obviously, Don was pretty excited about it.
He looks like he appreciates that award that we've given him, and he's well-deserved.
All right, coming up on Thursday night, the AMF Cobra PBA Senior Classic from Weber's St. Charles Lanes will come your way live and direct on ESPN Thursday, July 18th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So we'll be down there with the Weber clan in the greater St. Louis area.
And I'm sure they're watching right now.
Mm-hmm. Had a long chat with Dick this past week, and Rich get a chance to play golf, I'm told, with Pete Weber. We're going to play Thursday morning, perhaps. Hope he takes it easy on me.
Yeah.
Norm Duke has been waiting a long time for this opening shot, and he dices up the rack and leaves a 7-pin.
And in the practice balls, Duke was having trouble with the ball creeping high. So a little extra speed there and sent it, really trusted it out to the half board or so.
A fun player to watch perform when he's got it going.
Trouble. Oh, right out of the gate. You know, I always wonder, guys, to shoot those left-hand spares from the left side of the lane. I didn't learn that way. I don't teach that way. I think it's a mistake, but a lot of guys do it, and they're very successful. But you catch that oil too quick, and the ball can just back right away and miss that spare.
Another great break for Stayrook, who will take the strike in the opening frame.
I wonder what hit the 7-pin there. It was a late pin, came across and got that 7, as we're going to take a look at Duke having more trouble with the 7-pin. From the left side of the approach, right about down the 5th arrow, got a little right of the 5th arrow, and it just never hooked. He's throwing straight at it on purpose, and it looked like he's stuck or something. He's going to look down at the approach. He's saying, oh, no, what a way to start.
Looking to open with the double, and that ball comes up very light. Jess was hoping for one more break, but the 3-pin stands.
And he stared at that in the second frame of the last game. The only difference was the 9-pin was up there. He's got a chance now because the 9-pin fell over it. The 3-7, he wants to hit that 3-pin on the right and send it over to the 7. you read lips there?
Kathy's saying, all right, he made the 710. That's a lot harder than this, so obviously he can convert this.
That's what she said. Okay.
Right.
I'm glad you can read lips
Yep.
there.
Years of practice, staring at monitors.
Oh, I thought he had it, but it just hooked right by it.
So did he. Look at Jess. He says, oh, I've made the 710. I was hoping for the 3-7. Not to be. And one of our good friends, Pam Buckner, representing Ebonite, WABC Hall of Famer, on hand for the championship round. And then you mentioned creeping up and going through the nose is what Duke does on lane 16.
And when it gets to that first board, Denny, on the right side of the lane, it just goes left immediately. Immediately. Watch it. Hit the first board and go left now. Wham! And it's high right now. You just cannot get it to the first board. I mean, I actually think Ferraro made the intelligent decision for the right-handers. Well, nobody wants to win here. He misses 2 spares back-to-back. The 7-pin and the 3-6, neither one would be considered the most difficult in the world. And we bowl 4 frames and have 1 mark between 2 of them.
The interesting note here is that Norm Duke, I think, considers himself perhaps to be the best spare shooter right now on the national tour.
Well, he's disproving that in a hurry, isn't he?
Well, he's 0 for 2.
And again, trouble with the approach.
Needs to get something started. And it can't get much worse through 3 frames as he leaves the whack 9 on lane 15.
The only good news is that I'm sure he's saying to himself, I can make this spare. I know I can. Watch it cut right through. The powerful balls, the tremendous lane friction, and the ball hits the pin and just chops the 5 right off the 9.
How about 1 for 3? Good if you're a professional ball player in Major League Baseball, but as a bowler, Norm finally turns around and says, all right, I'm 1 for 3. I'm down by 8, but I can still get it done.
And, you know, it could be a lot worse. Miss 2 spares, and you're only down by 8 pins at the end of 2.5 frames.
Bad sign. Well, he's had practice at this, but now does Stayrook make the adjustment and move somewhere else? Does he move in?
That's a good question. It's exactly the thought going right through my mind. I know that John Mazza is suddenly thinking, outside, maybe forget it, you know, because this is what John originally had anticipated.
Sure.
Even in the interview, he said he thought he was going to play outside, but he thought that Jess would carry that oil down the lane, and that's what's happened. He's either got to move his feet further left, or he's got an opt for moving inside.
In front of the 7. It's been that kind of an afternoon for Jess Stayrook. And now this is a 3-pin match, and Duke, who has already missed twice, is ahead.
Who says you have to make spares to win out here, huh? Clips it. Clipped it too thin. I mean, what a bad break, though. A lot of times that'll happen. The pin will bounce up and still hit it, but he went right around it.
Natural shot now might be a little high, huh?
Yeah, that's the tendency. We're only human.
It was, and it did.
Well, yeah, but you see how much more direct he went? He didn't fool around with getting it out to the first board now.
Carries the 6-pin, and as we head to commercial, let's take a look at famous Old Tucson, Arizona's movie mecca, location for over 200 productions since 1939, when it was built for the movie Arizona.
Why are more people depending on oil heat?
We have a high-efficiency oil-fired warm air furnace. Our total heating cost for the past year was $250. That's only $20.83 a month.
We decided to go with oil heat because it's warmer, safer, and cleaner than other heat sources.
With my wife and kids taking showers and baths, it's nice to know with oil heat I'll get a hot shower too. And I don't have to chop wood or carry coal like my neighbors.
Oil heat. Depend on it. Call the Oil Heat Council of Lancaster County for more information.
Hey, buddy, want to make $1 million the easy way?
You could step into the ring. You could dabble in junk bonds.
Or you could play the HBO TV Guide Quest for the Best Game. Play daily in TV Guide and nightly on HBO. So hold on to that game card for your daily chance to win over 8,000 cash prizes. Play the HBO TV Guide Quest for the Best Game and make your first million the easy way.
The good news is he leads by 3. The bad news is he's 1 for 3 in the spare department and asked Chuck Pisano if he might practice his spares during that last commercial. At least he's kept his sense of humor.
He has really moved a little further left there, sent it right with authority and speed.
They're not calling for John Wayne out there either. They're chanting Duke, 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 as in Norm Duke.
Oh, I see. It isn't the Duke.
Well, I was just referring once again back to the old Western. You've been over there, right, to Old Tucson?
Old Tucson, yeah. They put these old Western dramas on out there that are just tremendously entertaining.
Any gunfights over there?
Oh, yeah, all kinds of gunfights.
We got a shootout right now. Oh, that's out to the half court, and Duke comes storming back, Mike Durbin, says, hey, maybe I can't spare, but I know I can strike.
Well, Jess, with these 2 splits, has just loosened Duke up, even though he came out a little uptight and missed a couple spares. He may not stop striking now. Jess has to start getting some of his own strikes, though, to put some pressure on Mr. Duke. And he's stuck. Suddenly a lot of trouble with the approaches, both by Duke and now by Stayrook. Again, he's had this before, the 2-4-6-10. He left that in the first match. Watch him come to an abrupt end here. Starts to slide and stops dead. Almost went over the foul line. He might have been better off if he had.
You know what I'm wondering, Michael? He's starting to move a little bit on the approach. Mightn't he be moving into the area that Ferraro was sliding in? Because you mentioned that David comes in heel first.
Oh!
Once again, Stayrook provides us with a sensational conversion.
I got to do this for a tip one time, Dan. I'll tell you, only on the right side, because I can't do it on the left. As he hits the 2-pin on the left, thin, slides it into the 6-10. That is the classic, perfect way to make that split. And here's his reaction. Well, it pumped him up the last match. Let's see if it can do it again this time.
Well, you used Ozio earlier today for the finish. We'll just pull Jess in to shoot that shot.
Right.
Probably do it in one take. What a day for Stayrook. He's seen a little good and a little bad. If you've just joined us, it's been a day that we'll remember for a long time on ESPN, because Stayrook in match number 2. Yeah, match number 2 against Ferraro in the 4th frame converted the 7-10, joining only John Mazza and the great Mark Roth as the only 3 players in PBA history to do so in national television competition.
I wonder if it says anything that's been done now twice in 1 year. Hadn't been done for 20 years and now twice in 1 year.
Pins are lighter, they bounce more?
Well, they're not really lighter. They're still, these are 3 6s, 3 7s down there, but they have the 2 voids in them, and they do fly.
16 pins Duke leads by right now. He doubled in the 4th and the 5th, asked for a re-rack here in the 6th. Mr. Duke has found something to his liking out there on about the 1 board.
He is hot. Watch the 6 steps. The left foot goes back, and then 1, 2. Basically a 4-step approach from here on out, though. But he uses those other 2 steps to build up momentum and speed. Look how close he comes to that foul line, too. And talk about finish in the last 10 feet.
Oh, he got a handful there. Might have been too much.
Well, you saw that one coming. Might have been too much as it cuts through and leaves his 2nd solid 9 of the game.
He had it all there. You could see it coming off his hand. He just had the whole bowling ball there. Well, he goes for a piece of tape. The clock is running, isn't it?
The clock is running. I mean, the fact that you're putting tape in the ball doesn't stop the clock. And again, the rule on the PBA Tour, it's $100 the first pop and $1,000 after that. So that clock is running. This could cost Norm $100. expensive little strip of tape. Of course, he might make $18,000, so...
Yeah, but if you're shooting at the 9-pin, don't you pick that up and then go worry about the tape?
He wants the feel. He doesn't want a new feel at a strike.
He's already missed a couple of spares. Kind of jumps up to the line there and continues to lead in this one by 25. And we'll take a look now at the majestic saguaro cactus, which grows only in the Sonoran Desert of southern Arizona and northern Mexico.
Do you know what open-end mutual funds are?
The Wall Street Journal Guide to Understanding Money and Markets tells you in clear, simple English.
Do you know how to spot trends in stocks?
And what stock options are?
And zero coupon bonds?
And the difference between Treasury bills and Treasury notes?
Everything you want to know about the sometimes baffling world of money and investing is in this remarkable 120-page book. And now it's yours free when you subscribe to the Wall Street Journal. Call now and you can have 13 weeks of the Wall Street Journal and this valuable 120-page Guide to Understanding Money and Markets. That's 13 weeks of the Journal for the news and ideas you need every business day. And this guide free, which tells you everything you want to know about money and markets, all for only $37, a 24% savings off the newsstand price. Call now, toll-free, 800-332-1800. That's 800-332-1800 for today's Wall Street Journal.
See great athletic feats at the U.S. Olympic Festival. Today at 4 Eastern, live on ESPN.
Stayrook down by 25. Let's clarify something very quickly, Michael. We talked about Norm Duke maybe running over the 25-second limit, but the tournament committee has just voted, apparently, that if you're putting a piece of tape in, the clock starts after the tape goes in.
I wasn't aware of that rule, but that is the rule that they have. Yes.
Oh, he moves to the inside line, Michael, and he struck. So he figures, hey, I'm down 25. I might as well take a big chance.
And that is a gutsy move to move from the first arrow or banking it off the first board into the fourth arrow in the middle of the game or the seventh frame of the game.
For Stayrook, who has a couple of opens and a 2-4-6-10 split conversion here in game number 2, could still shoot 212.
But he better strike right here. Down 25, can cut it to 15. And Duke has found the pocket.
And he's in on the left-hand lane as well.
Correct.
Some great shot making there.
He likes the reaction, I'll tell you. Suddenly light. Hey, maybe I can strike out here. Carry. All right. Can't accuse Jess of being stoic out there, can we?
Far from it. Meanwhile, Duke goes to the half board, comes back, pocket trips out the 4, the 9-pin still there. That 9-pin has really been a problem.
What amazes me, though, is that violent reaction off the one board. That ball just gone banking dead left. Watch it go creep high, and the 4-9 is up there for a second. Watch the tip of the pin, or the head of the pin, hits the 9, but not hard enough to knock it over. He's got it.
Duke struggling at best with the 1-pin spares.
Well, the best that Norm Duke can get as we look at the score, the difference 14 pins. If he strikes out, is 216. Jess Stayrook, if he strikes out, could be 212. So anything could happen. Duke has already taken 2 re-racks, so he's out of re-racks.
Boy, we've got
second right here.
Dash, dash, donut, donut. We've got them all here on the scoreboard.
Split conversions.
Yeah. What a wild afternoon here in Tucson. Good speed.
Good shot. See, he didn't get that ball to the first board. A nice, more even reaction to the 1-3.
Now, does he know that?
Sure, he knows that. Right. It's just that we're not perfect. We can't perfectly hit that same board every shot.
The lane's hooking a little more, so if he doesn't get it out to that point, it hooks too. Right?
Actually, it goes a little longer. If he hits the second board, the ball goes further down the lane, makes a more even arc.
What I'm saying is if he hits 3...
Well, it could go high.
Yeah. Needs it to stay alive. And, oh, boy, boy, this is a better reaction than he had on the gutter for a while.
I'll tell you, though, I just marvel at the modern-day player, you know, to make that kind of a move in the middle of the game. Of course, like you say, he was down 25, but now he's only down 4 and can take the lead in the match for the first time with one more strike.
What you're saying is, in your day, did you ever make that radical a move in a championship round?
Well, I should clarify that. My first game on national television was against Nelson Burton Jr., who played one lane, the fourth arrow, and the other lane, the gutter, and started with 6 in a row. So they've been doing it for 30 years, Dad.
Nelly did that, right?
Yeah.
And he beat your brains out.
Oh, he crushed me. 240 to 160.
But you beat him here for your title.
I outlasted him. For the lead.
Ooh, he got it a little bit right of target when it left, and he was kind of hoping it would hold, but it just didn't.
Yeah, not his best shot, but he's still in the match. If he makes the spare strikes, he can finish with 190 that would force Mr. Duke to mark in the 10th frame.
An eventful afternoon for the San Diego native, who is really trying to get to a title match and win his 3rd professional championship, but he'll need some luck now.
Well, all he can do is do his part and strike, and then watch Norm Duke.
Had 10 strikes in the opening game, just 5 thus far in this one. Well, you have to love the guts and courage of the big-time move. At least he gives himself an opportunity to maybe move on.
Well, he did everything he possibly could. Make the 7-10, make the 2-4-6-10, slide the 3 in front of the 7. Duke has been trusting it. Good speed.
Put the handle on that one. Started a lawnmower with that swing, and Norm Duke, to the chance of his supporters, is about ready to move to the title match.
And what's so interesting is Norm Duke for years had the reputation as one of the slowest bowlers on tour. Did you notice how quick he got up and threw that shot? I mean, that was over in a heartbeat. Right now, though, I look for him to throw it right down the middle of the lane and stay away from the edge.
Confers with Johnny Campos, the national tournament director, as to what the score is, what he needs to win. Oh,
boy.
My.
That's guts, isn't it? The only thing that could beat him was one in the channel. And
let me ask you one quick question, Mike. When he asks Johnny at that point, is Johnny allowed to tell him how many he needs or what the score is?
He should tell him what the score is.
Okay. You know, you can't say you need 3 pins to win or you need 5 to win or 7 to win.
I don't know what, John. There's no real rule, but in reality, I mean, basically just tells him what the score is, and it's up to Duke to figure out what he needs.
Okay. All he needs now is to win one more game. 8-pin fell, so did the 9, and the 7-10 man, Jess Stayrook, heads to the corral. But I'll tell you what, the guns were blazing here this afternoon. He shot the 7 and the 10 down, and they appreciate it here in Tucson, where they've watched professional bowling for 30 seasons. That pretty much says it all. And as we go to break, let's take a look at some of the other top 24 finishers here this week.
I still don't know why she sees it, you know. Hey!
7-Up, the cool spot.
Enjoy the pay less difference. Smashing rates, and faultless service.
I like to work hard. My play is my work, and my work is my play. So when I have to rent a car, I relax. Thank you, Payless.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're here at ringside for the fight card of the century. Sports Illustrated proudly presents history's greatest knockout video with commentary from Mike Tyson. And the video is free with your paid subscription to Sports Illustrated. Call now and get ringside seats to this illustrious event. You'll witness over 40 of the most memorable, most talked about fights in boxing history. And you'll be knocked out when you hear that the video is free. Yes, it's free when you subscribe to Sports Illustrated, the magazine that gives you hard-hitting stories and photos week after week. And you'll get the football preview issues and the 92 swimsuit issue. Call now and save over 55% off the cover price. You'll get 23 issues for 3 easy monthly installments of $9.99 each. For faster delivery, use your credit card. So call now. Witness Foreman versus Roman, Lewis versus Khan, Liston versus Clay, and see Mike Tyson become the youngest heavyweight champion ever. Call to order or renew today. Use your credit card. Get knockout savings on Sports Illustrated and get history's greatest knockout video free.
Championship Frame is brought to you by Midas for mufflers, brakes, and shocks. Nobody beats Midas. Nobody. All right, Michael, let's take a look at our championship round shot. In game number 1, it was Stayrook in the 10th.
And needed this first one in the 10th. Actually, this was an experiment shot that he moved in the second ball in the 10th and struck after he had already thrown the first ball in the 10th from the outside. This was from the inside, the angle that he wound up using later to almost bail out the third match. But we see that he finished with 10 strikes there. 250 usually wins most games.
And he defeated Walter Ray Williams, 250 to 211 in game number 1. So for Stayrook, well, this will be a memorable moment in PBA history.
Second match that's only happened twice before in PBA history. Leaves the pocket 7-10, which was the bad break. Throws hard at the 7-pin, and watch it close, folks. Ball pin goes to the side, then jumps up, rolls across, and that 10-pin didn't have a chance.
And they're still cheering here in Tucson for that shot. Oh, Kathy loved it all the way. Yes, she says. And a little wave after the 7-10 conversion. There you see it in the 4th. And 224 to 214 as Stayrook defeated Dave Ferraro in game number 2. Now let's move on to the semifinal.
And we see Norm Duke with needing the first strike in the 10th frame, or he needed some kind of mark, and the best kind of mark is always a strike. Trusts it right to the first board. Hits them thin and watches them spin, as Billy Whaley used to say.
And what that ended up, as you get the circle move from Duke, was helping out a 216 to 190 victory over Jess Stayrook. So for Norm Duke, it was a victory in the semifinal, and he'll now take on John Mazza in the title match here in Tucson. And earlier this week, Parker Bone III and two-time PBA Player of the Year Amleto Monticelli and match play finalist Tracy Lamberth visited the children's ward of the Tucson University Medical Center with autographed bowling pins and PBA Tour programs.
How do I know where to get my brakes done right?
Come to Midas. You get a lot of value for the price, and you get something else. Peace of mind. Knowing you get a thorough inspection by Midas-trained experts and a written estimate up front. Knowing every brake shoe and pad is guaranteed for as long as you own your car, and knowing the job will be done right. That's why more people come to us for brakes, knowing that nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
When sports cream, when arms are sore, when legs ache, when muscles hurt, why sports cream? Massaging sports cream in brings fast pain relief. No medicine-y smell, no odor. Why sports cream? Because it works.
Athlete's Foot. Every year, over 28 million Americans get it. Try NP27. Its doctor-recommended ingredient stops burning and itching fast. NP27. Nothing's a better cure for Athlete's Foot.
And we see the money leaders that we were talking about. Ozio with over a $30,000 lead. Mazza can win 18 today, but he'd still be a long way behind in money.
Pete Weber, number 2. Monticelli, as you see, number 3. And Del Ballard, who also cashed this week, is in the number 4 position right now among the PBA money leaders.
There we see the highest average on the PBA Tour since Mark Roth set the record. But what was that, back in 1978?
1979, when Mark averaged the PBA all-time 221.6.
220 is a lot of pins per game, a lot more than I used to knock down.
Only two of the players on the telecast in the top 5 average-wise thus far as we enter the mid part of the summer tour. Let's take a look now at the numbers, the way they stacked up here in Tucson this week.
And only 150. Normally, normal tournament's 160. To 210 to cash, 215 to make the top 24. Not a real good average on the TV pair.
4 300 games, and that was provided by all 4 players in the finals. All 4 of those guys made it to the top 24. Ferraro did the telecast.
And 1 left-hander and 3 right-handers there.
This is the way they finished round by round. Keep in mind, Ferraro averaged 243 in the 5th round. He went from 20th to 4th. For John Mazza, once he got settled in, it was I'll take the lead on Friday morning and just hang on to it.
And he just went from 4th to 3rd to 1st and stayed in 1st.
Bowled beautifully last night. 2 of the players that are in the race for the Player of the Year, John Mazza and Norm Duke, will square off for the Tucson Open Championship on ESPN when we come back.
The new 1992 Mercury Grand Marquis. More room than Oldsmobile 98 or Buick Park Avenue. More power than Olds and Buick from a new, more powerful V8 engine. And more value. Grand Marquis is priced $1,700 less than Olds 98. $2,100 less than Park Avenue. New Grand Marquis. Proof that more of a good thing is a very good thing. For a look at state capitol activities, watch Senate Digest with Senator Gib Armstrong. Senator Armstrong will tackle the tough issues that impact on the residents of the 13th Senatorial District. He will talk with people from state and local government, the administration, and residents of the Lancaster County area. To find out how state government is working for you, join Senator Gib Armstrong for Senate Digest.
If it happens in baseball, you'll see it on ESPN.
There he goes. He leaps. He makes the catch.
See Tuesday night doubleheaders, Wednesday night excitement, Friday night twin bills, and exclusive Sunday night action. Ruben Sierra leads the Texas Rangers stampede through the AL West. Joe Carter pilots the high-flying first-place Blue Jays. The Rangers beat the Blue Jays live at 8 Eastern on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.
Down to the final 2 here in Tucson, and they'll be bowling for the top prize of $18,000 in this year's championship at Golden Pin Lanes. Coming up immediately following our Tucson Open, coverage of the U.S. Olympic Festival from Los Angeles, California. Women's figure skating and boxing, the semifinals thus far, and that starts at 4 o'clock Eastern Time right here on ESPN. You know, one point I'd like to make, Mike, is you look back over the 30 years now of this tournament as we check out the prize list. There have only been, 4 left-handers who have won this tournament in 29 tries, but I guess the point being that now that there's a brand new surface in synthetics, that characteristic may not hold this year.
Yeah, you can basically throw out everything that happened before, Dan, because synthetics is a whole new ballgame. The same lanes are still here. What synthetics are an overlay or panels put over the existing lanes is here in 3 different sections, you know. So, this year, as the PBA lane maintenance pattern has put down the condition, the left-handers have bowled very well here, but so have the right-handers, and we've got a right-hander going against the left-hander for the championship.
And it would appear that John Mazza is going to at least start out.
Little rumble there.
Very good choice.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Using a different type ball than Jess Stayrook. They're using a real dull ball that bites the lane. That's what he's trying to get. Good finish at the backhand.
Meanwhile, Duke found something in the latter stages of the semifinal. Moved in a little with his feet. Stayed with the same angle. And that was close.
Not quite the same speed that he had before because the adrenaline. I mean, he's already won that match, and he's not really into this match enough yet. Needs to keep that speed really firm. Or that ball's going to creep high like that every time.
Boy, during the commercial break, Norm Duke was joking with the crowd, trying to stay loose. And this is a different player than we've seen in past years.
Well, it's a confident player. So it's a similar story to Mazza. I mean, I know that Duke, as he shoots his spare from the left again, and I don't know. I'll tell you what.
Well, he missed the first two spares in the semifinal game and went on to win over Stayrook, but I'm not so sure he'll be able to pull that off against Mazza.
Well, we try and extol him and say how great he's bowling, how much confidence he has as he keeps whiffing all these spares. I mean, he's smiling about it himself, though. I'll tell you, it's a good sign when you can laugh at yourself. You know, if you look at the two players' body
but missing
English,
spares in a championship round is not a laughing matter.
Well, but you don't want to get down on yourself either, Dan.
All right. Boy, oh boy. I guess he's got to get behind to come out and get the speed back up.
Well, that makes him angry. It's intentional. He misses him on purpose just to lull his opponents into a false sense
you're
of
reaching.
security.
You are really reaching now.
Well, I don't know, something.
All right. I don't know.
I don't either. I don't like shooting left-hand spares to the left side of the lane.
Over the thumb hole, high, and a two-pin.
You got to trust it. It's just he threw that shot like he was just kind of guiding it into the pocket, afraid it wouldn't make it back, and steered it right up there high. Fortunately, he didn't get a split.
John averaged 225.3 on this fair and had one stretch during match play where he won 12 consecutive matches.
Four-step player holds the ball waist high, kind of rocks those toes, pushes and steps. Basically a free swing, head is steady, backswing slightly higher, nice deep knee bend. That's the form that's won 3 titles so far this year.
And provided him with 7 championship round appearances. Both of these players are tied in that department.
That's a lot.
Considering there's a lot of bowling left. Oh, major league break there as the 8-pin gets tackled from behind.
And the difference in speed between the two players. Mazza just basically stroking the ball, a nice even speed going down the lane, letting the surface of the ball and the back end of the lane bring the ball in. Duke overcoming everything with speed. Speed and hand position and a quicker approach.
Spare ball utilized, and Norm Duke steps up, working on a strike in the second, trailing by 11. Doesn't seem to be bothered by the miss. Spare?
He doesn't seem to be bothered by much of anything. As I was trying to point out earlier, being respected is very important to him. As he leaves his third solid 9 in a game in 3 frames. That's what's causing that is that violent reaction at the back end of the lane. That ball is just turning left and just chopping through those pins. The pins are no match for those killer balls going through there.
Better.
Well, he's confident in that one. He's made it several times before.
He's left it too many times. Norm with a 216-190 victory over Jess Stayrook in the semifinal. And we're in the title match. In case you've just tuned in to ESPN, a history-making performance for Jess Stayrook in game number 2 as he converted the 7-10. Right now, Mazza just trying to keep his thoughts focused and relaxed.
And on himself, not worry about his opponent.
He liked that one.
I think what's going through Duke's mind is that I don't think he thinks Mazza is lined up very well or very confident on this angle. Remember that John talked about he wasn't sure. He was going to go inside. That's where he prefers. But then he thought at the last minute he'd move outside, and that's where he's playing.
Over the thumb hole and through the woods, but he leaves the solid 7-10.
The only thing positive in his mind there is that he threw the ball the way he wanted to throw it, trusted it, and got a reaction to the 1-2 pocket.
As you alluded to, John is 2-0 from the top seed position this year, 2-1 lifetime.
And the one time he lost was in Cleveland a year or two ago when he started with the first 4 or 5 strikes in a row, but then had a mental lapse in the middle of the game, had a couple splits, and wound up losing.
Jimmy Pensack won that tournament, didn't he?
That's correct.
Ahead by 10, but far from over.
Smooth stroke.
Better roll there. You could see that one coming off his hand. That's a confidence builder there.
Well, again, this is all part of this visualization and sports psychology that he's talking about. You know, visualize how you want the ball to arc going down the lane, how you want it to come off your hand, how you want to act. He's making a believer of a lot of people.
Oh, plenty of speed there. I think you're dead on the money in terms of assessment. Norm Duke thinks he's going to win this match.
His body English, everything about him just exudes confidence right now. Just studying him, there's no side-to-side motion of that head, just confidence as he comes back. He's nothing negative going into his mind. Even when he misses the spares, he thinks he can overcome it.
He did in the semifinal.
See the thumb hang just a hair on that one, Dan? Not quite the great roll that he's had the previous shots, and the 10-pin was the result.
And there was also more loft because he did hang up.
That's right. See, and what we mean by that is that he didn't get the thumb out of the ball as clean and quick as he had in some of the previous shots. High backswing. Right here, thumb and the fingers come too much together. See the loft?
Now, by and large, he's pretty much been laying the ball down within a foot of the foul line. That one was 2.5 to 3 feet out there.
Right on line. His accuracy was still the same. Speed was still the same, but left a solid 10.
Mazza by 1, could be 11 if he strikes here on 16.
Just won't trust it when the strike is up there, Denny. See, what that registers to me as I watch him, you know, is that inside his mind, he's just not confident in where he's playing the lane. He won't throw it to the left and feel that it's coming back when he's got a strike up.
Regardless of where John Mazza or Norm Duke finish, both will eclipse the $100,000 barrier, I think, for the first time in both of their careers.
Jess Stayrook made similar split. Doesn't convert.
So an open in the 6th, and it's now an 11-pin lead for Norm Duke. So Mazza has plenty of work left.
And he's going to have to utilize all of these techniques from his sports psychologist. You know, it's interesting. It seems to be the contemporary thing of the 1990s and late 1980s that a lot of people in different sports are using sports psychologists.
Well, for years, athletes have done nothing but work on the physical game and very little on the mental game. Meanwhile, they tell you that the game is 90% mental. Not a good shot there for Mazza on 15. Now, will he do the same thing that Stayrook did and realize that, hey, I just don't have a good reaction, I'm going to try something here, or will he stick with the outside line?
I think he's going to stick with the outside line because he tried inside in practice and didn't have a good reaction there. See how he puts his last 2 fingers in for the spare there? The ring finger and the little finger to straighten it out. Another tip. Again, seeing a very little rotation. Cuts down the possibility of a chop and makes the spare conversion a lot easier.
And now Norm Duke in the position that every pro likes to be in, with a good reaction and an opportunity to take the lead and really grab the momentum in a title match.
The only thing that stopped him has been solid strikes and missed spares.
A little nudge from the 6 will go a long way in the championship round.
He gave it a double kiss there. Went up on the pin, halfway up, and then flicked again. Watch the 6-pin. Second from the right. Goes to the channel. Comes up, and then went back down and bounced back up again and got it.
Just a little nudge.
See him talking to himself? Now, I guarantee you, everything he said to himself then was positive. There wasn't one thing negative.
Killer shot there. Tremendous double for Duke, who has, without question, seized the momentum and the lead here in the title game.
All the momentum's his way now. Mr. Mazza has to just reach back and strike here in the 8th and 9th to have any chance to win it all.
Still could shoot 216, but has to get something started immediately. And he does. Trying to hang on, just give himself an opportunity to at least make Duke work for it in the 10th.
Pretty shot. You know, earlier this year, we watched him finish a game where he struck out in the 10th frame, and he still wound up losing the game as we watched this ball roll right through the 1-2 and knock all 10 pins into the pit. And there's a mental side to it that when your quote, back is against the wall like that, that sometimes you relax and you perform your best.
Oh, more roll. Needs a break and doesn't get it. Oh, couldn't happen at a worse time for John Mazza.
All you can do is put it in the pocket if the pins don't fall. As he looks up at us.
He says, I think I can do it twice. I'll tell you, that says a lot for this champion because right now his insides have to be just turning over. He made it earlier this year. How about again? For a moment. Oh, my. Disappointed John Mazza, who I think when you talk to him afterward, Mike, is going to realize he just didn't bowl his best game here in the title match.
Well, obviously, when you're shooting 170, it's not your best effort.
Norm Duke has already won once this year, 2 times in his career. A victory here kind of puts him on the fringe of Player of the Year if he could really finish strong. Well, he unleashed that. Down on one knee, and he'll chat a little to our foul line camera. Duke responding and looking for a victory.
He's just been the picture of confidence, especially on the first ball. I mean, his spare's been a little shaky all day. Smile, the confidence. Yes, baby. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter at all. Tucson Open champion Norm Duke, who you can see feels bad for John Mazza, but John, I'm sure, with the attitude that he has taken this year, it'll be, hey, it was a great week. I got to the top seed position. It didn't happen, but I'll look forward to next week's event. Can't win them all.
What you're trying to do is learn something from each experience so that he can build on it.
And for the man who had difficulty making spares early on, he throws a trick shot at the 2-8. Got to be a great feeling. You've been there, especially on this pair of lanes. This is a great tournament to win. A lot of tradition.
A lot of tradition in this tournament. Yeah, I was very pleased to win this tournament. I got close a number of times, but only won it once.
For Norm Duke, reinforces a lot of the things that he has done well this year. And when you get it going, it happens that way. 2:15 for Norm Duke, who defeats John Mazza in the title game.
You know, you hear a lot that there isn't camaraderie on the junior tour here, on the national tour, but I don't see that. I mean, there was the applause for Jess Stayrook by Norm Duke as he left, and these two guys hugging one another. It seems to me that there's a lot of camaraderie.
You know, both realizing how difficult it is to win on the national tour. For John Mazza, over $100,000. And don't forget, coming up on Sunday night on ESPN, Major League Baseball, the Rangers and the Toronto Blue Jays, who are mopping up the Eastern Division. That game starts at 8 o'clock Eastern Time.
Well, they got enough ex-Indians on that team. That's why they're winning, huh?
Well, one of my favorite pitchers, Tom Candiotti, won 2-1 just the other day for those Blue Jays. I like their chances. A team that's been awful close to winning it all for a few years now.
Right. Never can seem to get past the Oakland Athletics, though.
Right. But now they've got Joe Carter, too.
Right. Well, he may make the difference.
He's my favorite outfielder. I've seen all these guys play in Cleveland.
We get to see him for a few years before they move on.
Sure. Well, it ends on a sour note, but that's all right. 215 to 173. Mazza will be back. You can count on that. And we'll be back to Golden Pin Lanes in Tucson, Arizona to talk with Norm Duke and maybe even chat with Jess Stayrook if we have time to ask him about that 710 conversion.
Burger King asks,
what's going
Introducing 3 delicious international chicken sandwiches, fixed, fresh, served hot. The Italian way, white meat chicken with mozzarella cheese covered in marinara sauce. The French way, chicken with ham, Swiss cheese, and mayonnaise. The American way, chicken, American cheese, lettuce, tomato, and mayonnaise. The International Chicken Sandwich for a limited time at Burger King. Your way, right away.
When you're looking good, you want Bud Light. The clean, fresh taste won't fill you up and never let you down.
Jack, you look great. New clubs, new shoes, new ball.
Well, it's the new me, Bill.
New golf game, too?
We'll see.
It's showtime.
Showtime.
Hey! Whoa!
Maybe a 2-iron, Bill?
Yeah, a 2-iron. I just don't get it.
Well, it's showtime, Bill. And it's not the shoes, it's not the clubs, it's not the ball. It's this latest video from Golf Digest. How to get distance and accuracy.
A video?
Yeah, anyone can get it. And it's free when you subscribe to Golf Digest.
Huh.
Outdrive your partner with this half-hour instructional video. Free with a 1-year subscription to Golf Digest. Just $19.77. Call 800-367-5800. Imagine the video and Golf Digest. Call 800-367-5800.
The championship round finals of the $125,000 Tucson Open have been brought to you by Burger King, where you always get great tasting food your way, right away. The Tucson welcome to the 215-173 winner here of this championship, Norm Duke. And Norm, you struggled with the spares, but boy, you made some great shots when you had to.
I tell you what, I've been bowling so good on television, I can't get out of my own way. And today, I missed everything in the building. And I won. I almost hit my car outside.
You're going to have to change your insurance. Let's bring in a man who was maybe the most accurate player ever in the history of the PBA. Just kidding. Our general manager, Pete Thomas, an ABC Hall of Famer.
Thank you, Denny. Duke, in behalf of Golden Pin Lane employees, all the Tucsonians, congratulations. A great week you bowled well all week. And on behalf of us, we want to give you a trophy. Also, with the trophy, a check for $18,000.
Thank you, Pete. I tell you, I'm having a wonderful year, and thanks to all the promoters and stuff. I'd like to thank Don Allen, the owner here, Pete Thomas, all of his staff here for 30 years of wonderful work. We appreciate it. We'll see you here next year, I'm sure.
Mike?
Norm, you had a lot of adversity today. You had to overcome some of your own mistakes. You had several solid 9s. Yet as I read your body English and your demeanor on the lanes, you seemed confident that you were going to win all along.
Maybe I was more confident I was going to lose. I don't know. I tell you, the scores were so hard to add. They were all so ugly. I don't know. Maybe I was concentrating more on what the score was and making a shot. But it all worked out for the best.
One thing for sure, we don't want to take anything away from a terrific victory for you. Your second of the year, your third in your career. But I think the audience here, perhaps the national audience, would like to see Jess's 7-10 conversion one more time. Am I right? Well, the boys back in the truck have it queued up, I think. It happened in the 4th frame. All right, I didn't get to see it on the monitor. Never got a chance to see it. At least Mike and I didn't, but everybody else did. That's all that's important. One quick question. Did you ever make the 7-10?
Never in my life, but I've seen it on television more times than, how many, 3 or 4 now?
3 times.
3 times. God, how do they do it?
Twice this year, though.
Jesse Revs.
All right, one other question. You've won twice now this year, and Johnny has 3 wins. A couple of other guys do, too. Can you still be Player of the Year?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, my. Well, we'll send it away with a very confident champion here at the Tucson Open, Norm Duke. And we'll see you all next week in St. Louis. So long, everyone.